My name is Dee. I'm a dental nurse and the lead for oral health education at the Hertfordshire Special Care Dental Service. And in this video, we're going to be talking you through how to brush a child's teeth. We'll be talking through toothbrushes, toothpastes, and some tips and tricks on how to make it easier for you. So first of all, when we're considering choosing a toothbrush, there are lots of different toothbrushes out there that are aimed at different ages and they come in different sizes. So we have a smaller toothbrush, which is typically used for somebody under 3, quite simple and quite a small design. You can get other toothbrushes that usually aged from 3 to 6 or 6 plus. They're smaller than an adult toothbrush and usually quite simple and comfortable to use in small mouths. So when choosing a toothpaste for someone who is under 3, we need to make sure that it's got the correct level of fluoride in. We want 1,000 parts per million for someone who is under 3, and when we pop it onto the toothbrush, we want to make sure that we're only using a small amount, so about the size of an uncooked grain of rice. A small smear on the toothbrush is all you need for under 3. For 3 plus, we need to find a toothpaste that's got an adult level of fluoride, so we can have something like this, which has got 1,450 parts per million. And when we pop that onto our toothbrush, we need to make sure that we're using, again, a small amount, just about the size of a pea or a baked bean. So now we're going to go through how to brush a child's teeth. So when we're brushing teeth, it's really a good idea to brush the teeth in what we call a systematic manner. Now that's just a fancy way of saying that we brush the teeth so that we go round and round and don't miss any teeth out as we go. When we're brushing, we want to start from one side, move round to the other, and then we come back along the inside of the teeth. This is so that we don't miss any areas and all teeth get a really good brush inside and out. When we're brushing, it's really important to make sure we're brushing the teeth and the gums at the same time. If we angle our toothbrush up at the top or down at the bottom, we're going to be making sure that those bristles are getting into that area where the bacteria really like to hang out. And again, all the way around on the outside at the top and back again on the inside. When we're brushing, if we're just putting the toothbrush in and doing a bit here and a bit here, a bit there and a bit here, what happens is we actually start to miss areas, and we'll often miss the same areas over and over again. When we've finished with that, we can do a quick scrub of the biting surfaces to make sure no areas get left forgotten. When we're brushing, it's really important to try and brush for a full 2 minutes, 30 seconds going round one way, 30 seconds coming back, 30 seconds round on the top, 30 seconds coming back. Once you finish with the toothbrushing, it's important to spit the excess bubbles out, but there's no need to rinse off with water. We want the toothpaste to stay on the teeth to keep them nice and strong. When brushing somebody else's teeth, we need to think about the environment that we're doing it in. We always think about brushing our teeth in the bathroom, but we can brush somebody's teeth wherever they are most comfortable. This can be in a chair, in a wheelchair, in the bath, in bed, on the sofa, anywhere that that person is going to be at ease. When we are considering brushing somebody else's teeth, we just need to have a think of what equipment that we might need. I always recommend making sure that we have something like a towel or tissues to hand. This is something that we can either pop on somebody's front in case of any mess, or something that somebody might need to use to wipe their mouth once they've spat out. It could be disposable kitchen paper, it could be a flannel, it could be a cloth, it could be anything that you've got at home. We also need to make sure that we've got something for somebody to spit out into. Here we've got a paper kidney dish, but you could use whatever you've got, a cup, a bowl, a mug, anything that you've got around at home.
What do I do if someone has a toothache?
Toothache usually won't go away by itself, so it's really important if you have a toothache that you speak to a dentist. This is especially important if your face is swollen. If you don't have a dentist or don't know the telephone number for one, you can ring 111. If you're really stuck, you can always speak to a local pharmacist.
What do I do if I see bleeding gums?
Bleeding gums are very common, but they're actually a sign of where our gums haven't been brushed very well. Plaque and bacteria accumulate at the gum margin. They like to hang out where our gum and our teeth meet together. If it's been allowed to stay there for quite a while, it can make our gums red and inflamed, and if we touch them with a toothbrush, it will likely make them bleed. If you notice bleeding in your mouth or somebody else's, that's usually a sign that we need to go back in and brush a bit better. We need to remove that bacteria to make the bleeding stop, but it will make your gums bleed in the meantime. Bleeding gums with good toothbrushing will usually stop bleeding after about 7 to 10 days.
What if I'm scared of the dentist?
It's really normal to be anxious or scared about going to see the dentist. The best thing that you can do is to tell somebody that you're worried. You can speak to the receptionist, the nurse, or the dentist. If you tell them what you're worried about, they may be able to avoid doing that. They can also help you choose a signal, such as raising your hand, to let them know that they need a break. The best way to avoid being scared at the dentist is making sure people know that you're worried.
What if someone doesn't want their teeth brushed?
If someone doesn't want their teeth brushed, it's best to keep calm and explain to them why it's important that we want to brush our teeth. Sometimes people's mouths can be sore or uncomfortable, or sometimes people are just feeling very tired. If mouths are sore, we can try to be gentle. We can try to use a mild or even a children's toothpaste. But if worse comes to worse, you can always just say, okay, not today, we'll try again later.